Hello everyone. When I started Portrait, I was so naive and truly thought that work was just going to come to me from my past clients and my network. So I hired a full-time analyst and a QA from the get-go. Um, it was one of the biggest lessons I learned in my early years as a founder. I didn't have enough work to keep the analyst busy most days, even though we did have one client. The QA person helped a lot to get some of our systems in place and give us a good direction. But their full-time salaries and insurance premiums, I burned through cash extremely fast. And within a few months, I had to let the QA person go. There was no way that I was going to be able to continue to pay her salary. And to this date, it was one of the hardest things that I've had to do. She was so gracious though and understood the risk that she was taking when she signed on with us. She quickly found another job, thankfully. The analyst saw the struggle that we were having, and I was open with him, and he started looking for another job. And when he turned in his notice, I was somewhat devastated, but I understood where he was. And within a few months, it was very clear that him quitting was actually a real blessing. Cash flow didn't exist, and the work we had, I could really handle myself. So for about a year after he quit, I did everything I needed myself. We did have a part-time student intern and a part-time QA person, but I pretty much handled everything else myself. And I learned a lot throughout that process. I learned that my assumptions about the work coming in and the relationships I had with my network and past clients were not what I thought they were. And there was a lot more to making a sale than just knowing someone well. So secondly, I can and I must do a lot of different jobs until I just can't handle it anymore. And there are part-time or contractors that can fill the gaps without having to commit to a full-time person. I should have never hired that QA person. And even now, over 4 years later, I'm still utilizing 2 part-time QA people to do that required work. And again, thirdly, part-time employees are amazing. Recent graduates are open to part-time work initially to get some experience. The cost burden of these types of hires are much less because you aren't expected to provide health insurance and you can set the hours that they work. And this helps tremendously with payroll costs. You have to, and you get them trained and you can offer them full-time work when you're ready. Another mistake that I had a few years later was not hiring someone. We were slammed and we had an FTE agreement with a lot of work associated with that one client. I was working every day, including Sundays, and still feeling like I needed to work more. I think I was kind of scared to hire someone full-time again because of my past disaster of a hiring process when I first started. I did have a couple of part-time folks that were helping, but I really needed to hire someone full-time because I was in the lab so much I wasn't doing any sales outreach that I needed to. And so when that client's funding dried up, I was left with nothing in the pipeline, and that made it super challenging the following year. So I've made a few hiring mistakes, one hiring too early and another not hiring when I needed to. I think times like this is when someone on the outside looking in could provide some helpful advice or perspective. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful, great day.